Another character of yours that I really love is Tanya Roberts.
Oh,
my
thank
God.
you.
It's so funny, and I just
So
discovered it
funny.
recently as opposed to Chloe. It's Chloe. Tanya Roberts is so funny. It's so funny. What are
Tan-
what are the Tanya Roberts essentials? You think? Like, what does she need at all times?
Oh, oh my God.
Like a
Horribly
star
placed
naked.
makeup. Anything that will get the party going. Anything that will distort her reality. And a couch and a camera. She's ready to work. Um, I, yeah, Tanya, I heard that she used to do these ads on the radio for Tahiti Village, and that's where the first video came from, is that she did these pre-recorded ads, but it was always like her DJ would be talking to her and as if it was live, but it was so clearly pre-recorded, and she was talking so fast and so manic. And, I'd always loved Tanya Roberts growing up, and I always thought she was really cool, and and I love that era of 80s LA kind of glamour sleaze that I always thought she was always kind of in that sort of world. And and so I just did this live one night at a basement of a Ramada in Hollywood, and a friend of mine saw it and was like, let's make a video, and that's where that thing took off. And it's just like Chloe in the sense that it's not really Tanya Roberts. It's just
I
some
was just
weird...
going to say it's not Tanya Roberts at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proudly terrible at impressions, and I don't really care that I don't. It's like I like to tap in and find a thing that's true about them, and then build a character around that, and say I'm that person. I have friends that are brilliant at just nailing impressions. I mean, someone like James Adomian, who I'm not sure if you two know, but he's
Hopefully we'll have James on the show at some point as well.
he's an incredible guest. You definitely should reach out. I'm happy to connect you because he's a different. He's wonderful. But
that'd be awesome.
He does he's one of the only people I know who actually does great impressions, and he's funny. Bill Hader, same way. Bill Hader's the same. Bill does these amazing. They're accurate and funny. There are other people who I'm not going to mention that I think are accurate, but maybe not as funny because they're so. I'm like, wow, that really is them.
No, I totally get you.
But I'm more. I'd rather
as well.
I'd rather have it be. And Tanya is so free to me. She's so I put that wig on, and I have no idea what it's going to come out of my mouth, and it's like it taps into the drunkest, horniest woman that's inside me, and I don't know who she is really, but it's this really just this and when she sadly died last year, I was so oh man, I just feel weird, but I'm thinking about bringing her back because it now feels like an homage. It's my own character. I'm not trying to, because you want to let time go by because you certainly don't want to be it's like a horrible, she was so young.
No, absolutely.
And then just in the middle of COVID, all that, I would never, again, it's just I would never really go there, but it's more about I miss doing the character, and and
because you're not making fun of her.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I hope not. I mean, Tanya was always a little bit, because I would reference real things a lot with Tanya because I just loved her real filmography. I love that she was in Sheena, and she was in a Bond movie with Grace Jones and Christopher Walken, and Charlie's Angels and all that. I just love her. I love the world that she lived in.
But some of them, some things that I'm sure that have come from improv with Damiana Garcia, right?
Oh yes, I mean, Michael Lucid's Damiana Garcia is so much fun and a perfect balance for Tanya because Michael lets me be so hateful to. I'm so mean to Damiana, and yet that she's one of Tanya's only friends. Tanya needs Damiana, but she's just really and the things that I say, and Damiana just lets them roll off and just is well, okay, oh yeah, okay, sure. And really, I've watched his videos sometimes, and Michael is so funny in those because he just lets me just keep punching him in the face, and he's just
still
takes
smiling,
it, which is so funny to me. It doesn't fight back. It's so great.
Her pin super ugly, and it's caught in your hair, with a pin, that's so ugly, so ugly, and she's just oh yeah, fine, my pin is back.
I know. I'm so mean, and And my version is like, she's just on the, I mean, she has this weird 12-year-old girl that she is friends with, and then Damiana, and that's it. And she's still mean. You know, so it's really fun. Hopefully we'll do more of those at some point.
Two things that you've said, I'm sure, out of complete improv have been, that's not news. It's really works in Portuguese. It's really funny. That's not news. I'm sure you don't even remember because it's improv. So that's not news. You said like when the brooch thing was the brooch. The brooch was it?
Yeah,
the brooch?
I said pin, but
the pin.
the
pin.
brooch,
Yeah.
brooch.
Is it a brooch? Yeah. Okay, so that's not news. And another thing, which is
as a reply to an insult, it's amazing.
It's amazing. That's not news. And
I'll absolutely steal that.
It's so mean. It's just really like we've always known this about you.
Yeah, exactly. That's not news. And another one is you were drunk and said like, "Mine is yours." It's so funny.
Mine is yours.
What's mine is yours? Said mine is yours. It's so good. I'm going to keep those. It's just so, I love it. Mine is yours. Kind of like, you know, when the RuPaul one that's like this as well. I forgot.
She had hers.
Oh, right. She already had hers. Yeah.
Exactly. It's really it's just hysterically funny.
It's so wild how things take off and become like catchphrases, because I mean Drag Race has got so many that people now say, and they become you know, part of the vernacular. It's really strange, and a lot of times it's things that are just offhand said, you know, and then you don't even remember, and like, oh wow, people are like saying that now, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously they're sniffing around for catchphrases. I mean, they naturally create them. It's organic, but they're also very keen to have a keen sense of what
works
catchy.
in editing
and we already
Oh,
know.
sure, you're right. It definitely was for the edit, and it's something that it's really hard when you sit down and try to write the catchphrase. When you put the pen to the paper and go, what does this character say over and over again? Is this funny? And it's not. So it does kind of have to fall out organically, because like I remember on Drag Race, one of the queens said facts are facts.
Oh yeah.
Which is such a like nothing thing, like facts are facts, and it was like the delivery, and people say it all the time now. And that'd be one of those things in a writer's room if you were like, what if they said facts are facts? People are like, what's that? That's like nouns are nouns. Like it doesn't, but there's just certain times that things that people say that, you know, just that feel so like that's exactly right. And, you know, you don't always know when you say them. I mean, you know, I just know that when I've tried to come up with something and I say it and it lands with a thud, I'm just like, oh, I worked too hard on that. I tried too hard. You know, sometimes you have, and that's what's fun about Tanya is that like, I put that on. I actually do spend a lot of time doing the makeup because I want it to look like she really tried. But I feel so free in that makeup because it doesn't have to be pretty, because I'm not great. I've gotten better at my makeup, but I'm not great. Not really a drag queen who knows how to paint my face really well. So with Tanya, I could just, you know, be a child. And then and you feel free. And the lesson, I think, is just to go, say whatever. I mean, it's like what I've been teaching, you know, and I teach improv, and it's like I say to people, just say whatever comes out of your mouth. And it's so scary but the second you start editing and start thinking and working it out, you've killed it. You've made it so, you know, it turns into math, and it doesn't feel, you know, as fun.
Whenever we talk, there's I speak of catchphrases, I always remember the state. You remember?
Oh my gosh, my favorite! I love that show.
You know, I love the state.
Yeah.
It's I'm probably one of the few people over here. We are one of the few
not a
people.
lot of, it's not big over here
It's
at all.
not big over here at all. Like
it's not. I mean,
probably
it was.
know
I guess in the '90s. I mean, it was. I watched it all the time and loved it when it was out. But a lot of people, even though they love Wet Hot American Summer, they don't really talk about the state that much, and they should, because it's. iconic. I love it.
It's really really fantastic. But I have the box set over there. But I always remember Doug and the fact that MTV wanted them to have catchphrases, and they were like very much against it. So they made up the stupidest catchphrases like, I want to dip my balls in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip my balls in that.
And Doug had I'm out of here, and show
I'm out of here,
and would always flub it or pronounce it differently. Like, they do have a catchphrase. It's not good, and
so great.
And it's always mispronounced. Like, get out of here.
I've always been a fan of like anti-comedy like that, like anti-jokes, because, and maybe it's for my lack of like ability to write a good joke, but I can listen to it. I can listen to a really good joke and say, that's a really good joke. That's very clever. But I'm not really laughing. I laugh at the bizarre. My sense of humor is just like weird. So I'm way more at a character who goes, I'm out of here, more than I'm going to laugh at somebody who's doing the like making copies like Rob Schneider garbage like he would do. Like when you're just like, ew, I don't want to. It feels so deliberate to me and pandering. It feels like you don't trust your audience to be, and you're like, I'm going to make you enjoy this catchphrase. We were just kind of like, really? Because
Drew, that Drew Meister, Dr. Drewster.
Awful.
Yeah, it's not good. Sorry, Rob.
And also, like, that's one of those things you're like, who? I mean, people did that after he did it. People would do that with each other. Like, really boring, bad people would do that after. But before that, did you ever meet anybody that did that to you at the copy machine? Like, it was one of those things you're just like, oh, you just created a character in a bubble, thinking, like, this will be
that
really...
was relatable anyway, and maybe it's not. He's trying to convince you that it is.
Right.
Right. Like much like the people who do really good impressions. Again, it's somewhat funny, but remember to have a character first, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's much funnier that, like, you know, you do Chloe like bad shit insane, like that makes no sense and has no relation to Chloe Sevigny. Or for instance, we just spoke about James Adomian. James Adomian went on to do the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Who had barely any relation to the Sheriff of Nottingham. Just like
of course.
an extremely horny person. So yeah, it's much funnier to have that instead of like just a very precise. Even though he did Walt Whitman, we've spoke of this on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've never seen him do Walt Whitman.
It's on PFT's. It's on Paul Tompkins's. Paul Tompkins's Dead Authors.
Really something.
It's available. It's still
okay.
up
I need
there,
to check it out.
and it's scary.
Yeah, he just goes off into poetry for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And just speaks in poetry. I've never seen something like that.
He's next level. He's incredible.
It's insane. It's insane.